Hello and welcome to Fallawsophy. I'm your host, Jennifer Fallaw-Doering, and tonight we're talking about what it means to be a beacon of light. Lately, I have seen so much anger in people that tonight I just wanted to talk. Yeah, we've all been through a lot, and we've all been conditioned to believe that we should stay away from each other and that everyone is a threat. And so that is translating into a lot of anger and cattiness and separation. And, just as I go about town, people, especially up here where I live, I live in Idaho. I mean, people are really nice here. And so much so that when I moved up here from San Diego in 06, I think it was, I was like, what's with all these people? People are bringing casseroles over, and all the kids are out playing in the yard, in the street, and it's like walking back in time. And in the beginning it was a little strange. I'm like, should we eat this? But it was wonderful. It was wonderful. Just because there was an illness going around, and we had to spend a lot of time apart, doesn't mean that we should stay apart. And there's a lot of a lot of opinions. People have very strong opinions about what side people should be on, what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing. And some people aren't handling it well. They're just being boisterous, and what they're doing, what a lot of times people will do is look for opportunities to release. A lot of the enlightened people, a lot of people are on awakening, a lot of people that are moving forward in life, they think about it before they think before they speak. Parents, lots of parents, they think before they speak. Lots of parents have forgotten. It seems like the older community, to me, have become very mean and self-righteous. I think it's time that everyone kind of calm down and remember that without people, there's nothing. I mean, there's no reason. What is your reason? My reason is those kids. Always has been since day one. Before that, it was my family. I think, I'm a people person, and if I didn't have people, I wouldn't care if I lived or died. It wouldn't matter to me because I know where I'm going. I know it's all real. So I think it's time that people just kind of, because we're going to come out of this, I think a lot of people are hanging on. They're programmed, I think a lot of people are hanging on to opportunities to release. And it really doesn't have anything to do with an illness. It doesn't have anything to do with what we're supposed to be wearing on our faces, or how far we're standing apart. People will look for opportunities to let it all out on the first person that comes along. And for a lot of us, I think it's time that we start behaving ourselves again. sometimes there's nothing you can do about somebody who just wants to release. There's nothing you can do about certain people. What you can do is think about how you're going to react to it. Take a step back for a minute. How important is this? Do I really need to get that upset? Do I need to scar that person? Is that who I really am? The answer is usually no. It's usually, if you just let somebody, just let it go. Not be passive, but you just like the other day. I was driving downtown, and there was a lot of people downtown. And these people were gonna walk across the street, and the light turned, and I was gonna turn right, and they were still standing on the curb, and I'm like, are you gonna go? Or, okay, well, I'm gonna creep in. So I creep in, and this woman just decides she's gonna go. She's gonna start walking across the street, and just stops right in, next to my car, and just screams, really? Like, really loud. I'm like, yeah. I wanted to react. Yeah, really, and honk the horn and do all kinds of things. And it kind of pissed me off for a minute. And I was driving down, so I'm like, like I did something wrong. And I thought about it, and it's like, it really, that woman just released a whole bunch of negative energy with that, really. I mean, there was all kinds of frustration and all kinds of anger, all kinds of stuff she had pent up in there, just waiting for somebody to do something so she can just let it all out. And I didn't need to let that ruin my day. I'm never going to see her again. So it started to. And then I just kind of, no, pick your battles. It really isn't that important. I'm just going to keep shining. I'm just going to keep driving. And I'm not going to take that one home with me. I'm not going to okay, now my day is ruined. And now I'm going to go be mean to everybody else in the house and ruin their day. There's a ripple effect in everything that you do. And you go, I've just noticed when I'm out, I work from home and I'm the mom. And so I go out and I'm the gatherer. I go out and get all the stuff. And most people are fine. You can see it. It's real difference in people. Those people with no masks on, like me, walking around, like, and I'm preaching. I'm preaching here, but I'll walk through the store and I'm like, say something, just one thing to me, just. And I think everybody's doing that, and then the people with the mask on, they want to tear your head off, and you're a murderer. It's so overblown and so ridiculous. But what I see when I take a step back is just a lot of negative energy, a lot of, it's almost a jealousy. The people with the masks on, looking at those that don't have the masks on, like, why are you so free? Why do you get to be free and we don't? And the comical part of me wants to just cough in my hand and, pat him on the back and stuff like that, But it's an interesting atmosphere. And it's funny. I didn't used to be, somebody asked me the other day, and this is what sparked my thought process on this. How do you stay so calm in the middle of a storm? And I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't, because I'm stuck with the kids. I'm a mess. I'm a mess, I panic, all kinds of stuff, but I think what I've learned to do over the years is to choose what's mine, choose what's important. That person that wanted to say something mean to me or give me a dirty look or do something like that, flip me off. How tacky. They don't have anything to do with my life. They don't know who I am. They don't get to ruin my day. And I think it's all about turning the other cheek. It's about shining. I call it shining. And being a beacon of light. And others will see you do it. And they'll say, well, whoa, she knows something. How'd she do that? Well, I have faith. And I've been through some stuff. I mean, I grew up. I had an alcoholic father. I love him very much. Wonderful man. But he had problems, and that was hard. And then parents got divorced. That was really hard. My mother marries a rich man who basically says, you're basically Kathy's kids, and when you're 18, that's it. You're on your own. It's like, thank you. Great. Excuse me. I've got allergies galore over here. I don't know what's going on. And then I just had kind of like, I had a lot of joy in between. I don't want to say that I've had a bad life, because I've had so many good friends, and there's been so much joy, so much love, but there's been some big hits, and I was married at 26, and I had my 2 girls, my babies, and my husband at the time, he had a gambling problem, and I rushed around trying to stay one step ahead of him. And I don't want to talk bad about him, because he was a wonderful man. He really was. He just had, it just got the best of him. And so what he did is he lied to me all the time. So I was always trying to run around, stay one step ahead of him, and try to figure out what he was doing. I couldn't. Too smart. Incredibly smart. And that was very stressful. That was very stressful, to wake up and have to hide your purse before you go to sleep. Because if you don't, you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and he's going to be gone. And you're going to be $900 overdrawn, and the house payment's supposed to go through the next day. That kind of stress. How do you stop somebody from doing that? How do you keep everything? And then we moved up to Idaho, and he was killed by a drunk driver. And it was just me and the 2 girls. And I thought, I used to be very passive. And very empathetic. I would think, I'd worry, I'd take on everybody's problems. Everybody's problems. Brother, sister, friend, mother, everybody. Worry about it constantly. Constant worry wart. And when he died, it was crazy. It was a crazy thing that happened. I just, like I say, take a step back. It was almost like I was pushed back. And whenever somebody else's problems, everybody else had these problems, right? And this was such a big thing. I was handling such a big thing and trying to get through it, that I couldn't take anybody else's on. I could not mentally do it and keep smiling and keep going and raise those girls. And so it taught me to be strong, for one. And it taught me to take a look at what's mine. What is mine to fix? What is mine to handle? And I stopped letting everyone own me and own my happiness. And just decided to take care of what was on my plate. And that was a big lesson in life. Then I went on to, long story. I went on, all the spiritual stuff that was going on with me at the time, really increasing. And because I needed it. I needed that faith. I mean, just to go on. And I couldn't take everybody else's anger and everybody else's crap. You know? And why would you want me to? You know? And so basically what I would tell people is, I love you. I will be a sympathetic ear. I will give you my opinion. I will let you know what I think if you would like. But other than that, you're on your own. This is yours to fix. And I'm not going to get all pulled into the jealousy and the hate and the worry and the crap with you. So it kind of taught me to separate from other people's situations. And then as the years went by, doing all the readings of thousands of people I've done readings for, that come to me and ask me to be the neutral one and to give them answers they can't find and to take a look at both sides. And so that taught me to take a step back and to see both sides of a situation without getting pulled in. Years ago, after he passed away, I started writing a children's series, and it's called The Wishflower Field. The first book, I don't even know if you can find it because my publisher died. The second one's right here. It's almost done. But it's basically a children's story. And it's a beautiful story. It teaches kids how to find their light within and to blast away the darkness and manifest happiness. And in that story, the main character, she's 8-year-old. She's a little girl. So they went to the Catholic church. And she's sitting there, and she's been having these terrible nightmares, this dark shadow figure chasing her. And it just took this bright, vibrant young child down to a scared, shaky mess. Doesn't want to sleep, doesn't want to do anything, because she basically, this thing's chasing her through her dreams every night. She's exhausted. And so she goes to church, they drag her to church, and, she's sitting there counting the ceiling tiles and the pieces of stained glass in the windows, and doesn't really understand anything that's going on until she decided to listen for a second. And she heard the priest say, when you feel like you're surrounded by darkness, be a beacon of light. And that is where everything with the Beacon of Light Radio, with the Free Psychic Readings Beacon of Light, the group I've had for years, that's where that name came from. And, when I wrote that, I didn't really realize it at the time, but that was a message to me, really, as even when you're surrounded by darkness, you can be a beacon of light. Even when it just seems like there's nothing else you can do but join in and fight your way out of it, that's not always necessarily the best thing to do. Being a beacon of light is not holier than thou. It's not, I'm so great. It's basically remembering who you really are inside and letting that shine. Is this behavior a good representation of who I am? Is sitting over in the corner, although I've done it, girls. I have sat in the corner. If you don't have anything nice to say, come over here and sit by me, because we're going to talk about it in the corner, right? Done that many times. Over the years, done that many times. But although it's funny at times, the energy doesn't feel good to me anymore. To engage in talking bad about something. If it's constructive, like, what are we going to do about so and so? I think they've got a problem. Let's see. Is there anything we can do about that? That's fine. But just to sit around and talk about somebody, that is laughter at someone else's expense. That is a low vibration. It's very close to jealousy. And jealousy is something that you should always resist. That is one of the darkest, and that is one of the hardest ones to pull yourself out of. The quickest hole to step into. I mean, quickest quicksand is jealousy. And jealousy is it just leads right back to the ego. If you're jealous of somebody or something, and a lot of people will deny that they are, but they are, it says a lot about you. It says a lot about something that you need to address in yourself. And that's not a place you should dwell. We are, especially if you're listening to this, we are at the core light. And that light is creative, and that light is love. And we should aspire to be that. So when someone comes to me and says, well, I'm mad at so-and-so, and they did this and that, and blah, 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 don't you think they're terrible, and all this stuff, and I'm friends with both people or something, I'm going to say, well, I'm sorry that happened to you. I wasn't there, and I don't know the other side. But it's really not my place. It's really not my place to judge. I like you both. You guys hash this out. I don't have to get pulled into it. So many times we get pulled into family. Okay. We get so pulled in, but all the drama and what's going on with everybody, and how everybody just, the drama, it'll, like, especially if you got a family like that, it'll stir up and stir up and stir up, and it just gets so terrible. Can ruin the family gatherings, and lately what I've seen a lot of is people with their political opinions breaking up families, breaking up friendships, breaking up marriages. And I'm not saying that you don't have a valid point. Okay? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, can either of one of you fix this? Fix the whole thing? Is it more important maybe to focus on loving each other? Maybe you don't talk about that. I mean, it really sounds like a passive approach, but it's not. Choosing not to react immediately in a negative way is strength. So it takes some people many years to get there. It took me many years to get there. I would, especially with my sister or my brother-in-law. I'm not all the way done with that one, but they always got to find something wrong with me. Always got to find something wrong. I don't do anything. I mean, I don't even drink. What the hell am I doing over here? But anything I do, they have to blow it all out of proportion. It's got to be a big deal, and they'll sit there and they'll talk to the whole family about it. And I used to get so wrapped up in that. It's like, why? Why are you doing this to me? No, I'm not that way. No, trying to defend myself and everything else. And it took me a long time to realize that those people, even when they were gone, they were off to their happy life, oh, this was fun. And they're back to their life, week and a half later, I'm still, while I'm doing my hair, I'm waging the war in my head at what I'd say if they said this and that, and then they, and on and on and on and on, and I'm in turmoil. I don't have to do that. They don't get to own my happiness. And neither should somebody else own yours. They don't get to own my self-worth or identity. And we hand people passes all throughout our lives. Even the jerk in high school who said one thing at passing, embarrassed you in front of everybody or whatever, that becomes part of your identity. Well, why do we give so much power to people that don't matter? And then the people that do matter, we'll carry that forever. Oh, and it'll come out in therapy, or whatever, when you talk to a friend. Oh, yeah, my mom, when I was 12 years old, she said I was fat. Or my dad said I was stupid. So, and we believe it. Being a beacon of light is choosing not to continue to engage in the low level energy that holds us back, that keeps us down. It's choosing to be free. And it's so interesting because probably for the last 6 months, when I was in meditation with the angels, God said it, Jesus said it, Gabriel said it, Michael said it, all different occasions. Has not made sense to me. I'd say, well, what do I need to do this? Well, you need to be free. You need to be free. And I'm like, free from what? I don't want to leave my husband. I don't want to leave my kids. I don't want to be free from what I do. I love everything that I do. I don't want to give up anything. What do I need to be free from? What do I need to be free from? What I needed to be free from was what was left of the self-doubt, the voices of the people that I gave passes to own me long ago. My stepfather, my sister, my brother-in-law, everybody who wronged me, they're still there. And so what happens was, if you've got these negative voices in your head, well, not like all the time, but you know what I'm saying, that keep telling you will keep repeating their words, basically. So you've got this negative energy cycling, speaking to you, and you're not free. You're not free to shine. You're holding yourself back. You're listening to this, and you're not living to your full potential. You're not allowing yourself to be happy. And so part of all this awakening is being that beacon of light, is getting rid of it. Maybe you don't even need to get rid of it. You just have to say, I don't care. No, I am free from that. I'm not going to let your negative voice keep running in my head. So if somebody else says one little thing to push that button, I'm going to explode all over them because, they hurt my ego or whatever. So little by little, we have to take our power back. Even from the woman that said, really, when I drove by, because I'm the kind of person that wants to do anything wrong. So if somebody says that, it's in there. And so, I was kind of proud of myself the other day, is that I did not let her do that to me. And I took the opportunity to shine. So, when somebody asks me, how do you stay calm in the midst of a storm? You be a beacon of light. Take that opportunity to shine. Take that opportunity to counsel that friend rather than get nasty with them, along with them saying terrible things about somebody else. Even if that person's behavior was wrong. Talk to your friend about how they can handle that and how they can realize that. How they can take a step back and say, well, do you want to be wrong too? I get sucked into it. Want this full-blown fight? Why does it matter? So strong opinions lately. I would just say, a lot of times it's not what you say, it's how you say it. If, let's say somebody was, thought the current president was amazing. I know I just set all of you off. Okay, thought the current president was amazing. Maybe they really do think that. I wouldn't react and say, wow, you are really stupid. I wouldn't do that. I would just say, why is that? And then listen. And give them the opportunity to speak and convince you. Then they will give you the opportunity to convince them that he's not. And if it gets heated, say, okay, I can see that you're very, this is a very strong opinion here. Let's agree to disagree. Maybe we'll talk about this later. But it doesn't have to turn into a big blown fight and you're an idiot and, oh my God, you're a conspiracy theorist and you're evil and you're a whatever. It doesn't have to do that. They're winning when they separate us all that way, and especially families. Now, there are some people that as you start shining, I would rather use that term than awakening. You're just deciding to shine. You're just deciding to be who you really are. And analyzing a situation before you react. That's growth. I think that when they separate us, they win. And you know who I'm talking about. But if we can be what we're screaming for, we're screaming to be Americans and for freedom of speech and freedom of thought and freedom of religion. How can we scream from the mountaintops and advocate for that if we do not accept it another person who doesn't think our way? We're doing the same damn thing. So let somebody have a different opinion. Keep your cool. Let's talk about it. Let's debate it. That's what's wonderful, is that we're allowed to have a difference of opinion, a different view. And maybe you have information they didn't know about. And maybe they have information that you didn't consider. That's how it's supposed to be. One thing that helps you do this is to recognize that each and every person, don't assume somebody's evil just because they're, a liberal or something. Don't assume that. Because a lot of people that are Democrats and a lot of people that are liberals, they were humanitarians. They cared about the environment. They cared about stuff, and they have been fooled, and they have been raised in a Democratic family who was about the workers and about the people and programs for the poor and all these things. And so in their mind, they believe you're a good person if you're a Democrat. They don't understand. A lot of them they're not into all this stuff. A lot of them don't understand what you're talking about. Because they have been programmed a certain way. We have to be sympathetic to that. Yeah, we can try to inform, but if you just, it's like waking a sleepwalker with some of these people. Do it when they're ready. Do it when they come to you. Don't assume that they're evil. That's being holier than thou, and that's not divine. We are aspiring to be divine. We are aspiring to be who we really are. Each and every one of us, God, experiencing being here right now as us and everything that's involved with that and getting along together. So, understanding that, you'll see the world differently. I know that when I had children, it's like I've had many awakenings. When I had children, I saw the world in a different way. Because I was so in love with my babies. I realized everyone is somebody's baby. And when I would watch the news stories and things like that, like, oh my God, that's somebody's baby. It's like, oh my God, that's somebody's baby. I'm basically just going to rattle on tonight so you can just sit for it or not. But I have no plan at all. But yeah, I did the taxes today. So my mind was just like, well, let's do it. Let's just rattle on and talk about something. But, I really want, the beacon of light, be a beacon of light has been the underlying theme of everything that I do since I started. When I wrote that book, it's the first in a series of 5. I wrote it from page 1 till the end. I did not map it out. I did not map out characters and how it would work out in the other books. I didn't do any of that. I only wrote once every couple months. I'd sit down and write 2 chapters. I channeled it. I had no idea at the time. And so some of those quotes that are in there, they're divine. I mean, I'm sure of it because it's helped me. I remember reading the thing back. I read it back. There's stuff in there I don't even remember writing. And it makes sense from page 1 until the end, until book 2, until book 3. That doesn't really happen unless there's some good stuff in there that's supposed to get out. I'm doing it. Well, actually, no, I'm not doing it right now, but I will. I'll get it done. But anybody wants one, you'll have to private message me. I'll have to send it to you because I've got boxes of books now, and I have to figure out finding a new publisher. But the whole turning the other cheek thing, I had a real problem with that when I was younger. I had a real problem with that. I was like, oh God, that's so wimpy. Why? I mean, I don't understand that. What, this is like somebody walk all over you. Love your enemies? Why would they deserve my love? Jesus was trying to teach us about the flow of energy and to not engage, it's for you, not for the enemy. It's for you. Do not get pulled in, especially with and we've seen them out there. Are some people are pretty evil, okay? Online, we've seen them. Terrible things they say. They're just baiting you. Some people will bait you and to pull you in, and they're just enjoying the heck out of it. Act like they're all upset. They love it. They love it because they pulled you in. The person may not realize it, but their attachment's having a ball. They pull you in, they get you all worked up, and then they just start sucking energy from you. And then even when it's over, it's not over. You take it with you. They've done so much damage. What you can do by turning the other cheek is you've just diffused all their power. You've refused to engage in it. Refused to acknowledge it. Watch a toddler when they are doing something for attention. They'll do it over and over again. And you get all upset. No, don't do that. Oh, you get all upset. Stop them just from doing it over and over again. And then you see them do it, and then you ignore them a little bit. You always try different tactics, but ignore them a little bit, and you can see they're waiting for you to notice that they're doing it. It's all about attention. And so silence and diffusing that is the best weapon. And there's strength in that. Most of you people that are listening to me are all warriors. I know that. You're all like, let's go get him. Let's get him now, probably wouldn't want to mess with any of you. You're all spiritual. You're all shining. You're all great people, and it's hard to say, well, I'd tell them off, or I'd do this, I do that. But it's really about how it affects you. And if you want happiness, if you want peace, start by being happy and peaceful. If you want love, start by being loving. I've had so many people come to me. When am I going to find love? When am I going to find love? When am I going to find love? When is it going to come to me? Blah, 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 blah. And, I'm not trying to talk about anybody, but you can just tell that it's really hard for people to get along with this person. They're just abrasive, and they're, and then you start talking about, well, what would you do if you did found love? Well, I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to do that, and they better do what I want. And do it. It's like, this is why you're single. It's because you're not projecting love. You draw to you that which you project. That's how energy works. So if you're pushing out love, if you're shining, you're going to attract other people to you that are shining. If you're a negative mess and doing negative things, you're going to be surrounded by those people because they are more than happy to wallow in it with you. So the best thing you can do for yourself and for your life is be a beacon of light. Others will see you, and they will find you. So taking an opportunity to recognize what is yours and what is somebody else's is a quick, you gotta think quick, okay? Kind of have to stay centered in your peace. That doesn't mean you're running around with flowers in your hair and butterflies flying around you all the time. Life's gonna hit you. I get upset, the kids will piss me off. I'll be like, I don't know who you think you are. And I just, 1 hour later, the lecture's still going. And, but those are my kids, and I, in taking up this practice, I see the underlying, importance of stopping a certain behavior or reacting in a certain way. And becoming a parent has always also taught me it's very important what you say. You can't just come out and say something because you're upset. They will remember it for the rest of their lives. So especially dealing with children, you need to use some kind of restraint. You need to lead by example. And if you want those children to grow up to be peaceful and loving, yeah, maybe the hour lectures aren't good. You see how hard that is? But for the most part, be an example. Let them see you pull out of it quickly. Let them see you resist getting involved in it, whatever it is. This is part of awakening. This is part of raising your vibration. It's eliminating and pulling off all the cords of negative energy that holds you down. All right, so let's talk about something else. I remember when I was little, I remember my sister was dyslexic. It doesn't mean she's not smart. She's very smart. She's a pain in the ass. Okay. But everybody treated her differently than me. Like, I couldn't get away with anything. Oh, you're smarter than that. I expect this from somebody, not you. I'm like, oh, well, that's great. I just have to be perfect then, which it never was. But I remember when I was little, and I wasn't fat, but I have always had, my sister was like tiny little bird bones, skinny as a rail, couldn't gain weight, nothing. And I was more stocky, sturdy girl, And so when we would fight, she would call me fat and I would call her stupid. And that's how it went. Until one day, it's almost like there's times in my life where everything stops. And I remember witnessing her saying she was struggling over some kind of test, and she said it out loud. She said that she was stupid, and I was like, oh my God, she's not stupid. I know how smart she is. I made her believe that. And so I don't know how old we were, 7, 8. I stopped saying that because I saw then and learned then that you say something too many times and that person will believe it. So I stopped saying that. She never stopped calling me fat, but she didn't quite get it. But at least I knew that I wasn't contributing to that anymore. That wasn't my fault. And so I started complimenting her instead. And what that led to was a positive thing for her. But, along the way, we do things with good intentions and end up harming ourselves somehow. I always held back my whole life because I just, things came easily to me. I was good at most of what I tried, to be completely honest. I was good at music and I was good at a lot of things. And she struggled with some things, I let her have art. Our father was an artist, amazing artist. And he taught me how to draw eyes one day. And I'll tell you what, I can draw eyes like you would not believe, because I basically stopped advancing with the art at that point because she got so upset, because that was her thing, that I had done such a good job and everybody fawned over Shelley. And I was like, okay, I'll let her have that one. She can have that. Let's let her have that. I won't do that anymore. But I could have been really good at it, and I really liked it. And so many times over the years, I've dumped myself down for people. I've held myself back in so many ways for the good of others. And, and that is noble. But at some point in time, you have to stand up and say, do I still have to do this? You know, can I just be me now? And I think that time is now. I think we've all come to that time where it's time to just be me now. It's time to stop holding back. It's time to shine. People come to me and they're taking the classes for the interdimensional meditation, and the only reason you're not seeing something is because you're holding back. We're taught that things are okay or they're not okay, or this is wrong and that's right, and you're capable of this and you're not, and this is your label and that's your label, and this is where you should be at a certain point in your life, and that's where they should be, and all this stuff gets us so upset, and it builds this identity that we have, and all these limitations, perceived limitations that we have. I think part of awakening is dropping them. I've had so many thoughts over the years about doing things that are just totally cool. I mean, I get a lot of good ideas. And no, you can't do that because of this or that, or it probably won't work out. And I hear somebody else from my past say something, or your parents say, don't get too cocky, or, don't be stuck up, whatever. That's a whole other story. I would love it if something I said here today hit that nerve, turned on that switch, reignite that light within you to decide to be that divine person you got in there. Now, you're going to get upset about things. You're not, the one thing is you're not perfect. Yes, we are. Everything we're doing here right now is absolutely perfect in design. And some people will be like, well, I don't understand that, and that's not true, and blah, blah, blah. Then you got more to learn. But, these labels, these words, perfect. According to who? What is that? What is perfect? What is tall and short and thin and fat and smart and stupid and noble and, righteous, and what? According to whose definition? It should definitely be yours. It should be yours now. That's part of waking up. And that really is where peace, your true peace, resides, is within the knowing that you're free. I get to decide how I get to feel and how I get to react and what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of and what I want to do now. Right now. I'm calling a new day right now. All starts new right now. So, be a beacon of light. I struggle so long with the whole family thing because they really, they just talk obsessively, and because they have nothing better to do. And I realized that a long time ago. Take a look at people's motives. Take a step back, analyze the situation. Now, why would they say something like that? Now, just be honest with yourself. If your behavior sparks some kind of reaction. Yeah, well, yeah, I kind of blew up there. Maybe I shouldn't have called them stupid. Maybe I shouldn't, totally thrown a fit. So, if their reaction is because of something you did, then apologize. Acknowledge it. It's okay to be wrong. It is absolutely okay to be wrong. It's not worth the long, drawn-out drama. I'm so anti-drama now, I don't even want to get pulled into anything. I have spent so many years trying to be happy and maintain that when somebody tries to pull me into drama, I'm like, yeah, I can't do that right now. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be part of that. That is not mine. I got too much to deal with over here. All right. So resist the jealousy. Another thing I want to talk about. Jealousy. You know, so many times when people have criticized you in your life, they were jealous of you. So many times. And it's funny because my mother used to say that when I was little. I'm like, oh, you're just trying to make me feel better. You know, she'd say that about everything. That woman is smart. Okay? She is so smart. And she'd also say, well, what I want you to do is, before you do that, I want you to think, what happens if? What happens if? I mean, she said that like 100 million times in my lifetime. Probably not that many, but what happens if? What happens if I say this? How much damage is that going to do? What happens if I don't do this? You know, it teaches you to think before you speak, think before you act. Jealousy. Jealousy is one of the darkest energies I have encountered. It will grab a hold of you and not let go. Most of the time we see jealousy from exes or from even, you know, it's funny because I've seen it from like the popular girls making fun of one that's maybe not as pretty or not as something. And, you know, they're doing that. And I have seen that. I had witnessed that one time. I saw this group of girls that I was standing close to, like kind of in the mix, but not quite, talking about somebody else who, you know, wasn't as pretty, didn't have the pretty clothes, you know, maybe she was awkward, whatever it was, but there's no reason for it. And they were talking about her, and I realized this girl was on and on and on and would not let it go. And I'm like, she is jealous of that girl because she is so insecure about herself. What she wants is to be, because this girl walked around like she didn't give a crap. I don't care if I'm pretty. I don't care if that's or that. That's what she was jealous of. That kind of freedom. And this girl's over here telling the story because she wants to be that free. She wants to feel like she doesn't care about every little thing that everybody says about her. And so she's talking bad about the other girl and also wants everybody around her to say, oh yeah, you're so much better than her. So the way a person reacts to something says a lot about them. Says a lot about them. More so if you didn't do something bad to cause the reaction, it says a lot about them and what they're dealing with inside. And so that makes it easier, understanding that, to be an observer, to not take it to heart. You know, that's kind of what I do now. When somebody's like throwing a fit and saying things, I'm just kind of like, what's their deal? Kind of like a psychologist trying to analyze what's going on with them. Wow, yeah, a lot of tension there. I don't know why you're acting that way, but so try that. It's kind of fun. And, you know, it really does. What I'd like you to stop doing is pulling this negative energy into yourself and keeping it. and then pushing it out at everybody else. So back to the jealousy, okay? All these people walking around afraid and reacting to those who aren't are jealous of the freedom that those people who aren't have. And, and they think, well, they know it doesn't make any sense that if they've taken some kind of shot and they've got their masks on, 2 of them, and they're like over there with their gloves, and their freaking bubble wrap and whatever the hell they have on, that they're fine. They're upset that you're running around, possibly infecting everyone. It's like any logical person understands that doesn't make any damn sense. Okay? It's not about that. It's about control. And then you will also find people reacting because they have no control over their anything in their life. And you see that a lot in people who are promoted to management too early. Never had any experience, or they just have no control over their life, and they just can't handle it. So what you got is a lot of management with no experience out there with masks on who can't handle it. So understand what's going on. Understand that you're going to encounter it. But if you are awakening, you have been called. And what is it that we do when we're called? We lead by example. So when you feel like you're surrounded by darkness, be a beacon of light. And that's all I really have to say tonight. Don't have a lot. I'm going to go to the comments and see if we have anybody. Lots of conversation going on over here. Yeah. A lot of bad managers, a lot of bad bosses out there. And that's the problem is that like if you do that thing where you take a step back and try to analyze the situation, why they're reacting the way they are, they can't handle any kind of power because they feel so restricted themselves. They don't have any power over life, so they misuse it and abuse it. And that's all they got, So don't internalize it. I mean, yeah, they might be your manager. Let's see. Jennifer, do you think, Oski Powers says, Jennifer, do you think if we all ask JC to visit DC and toss out the crooks, if we ask nice, would he? I think it's already there. I mean, not incarnate like Jesus is coming again, but, Jesus never left us. Never left us. Wherever 2 or more gather in my name, and I'm trying not to be too religious with you guys, but, talking to the angels and God, Jesus and stuff, meditation. What do you want me to do? He's never left us. Wherever 2 or more gather in my name. Who the heck said that? Let me see. Hang on. Tuggy Waffles is here. I cannot believe you're here, Tuggy. Says, I am Fallaw. That's hilarious. Funny story. Okay, doesn't have anything to do with anything. So everything is about, with me, if it's funny or not. I mean, it's got, comedy. When I see my kids do something that's just so funny, I'm like, you know what? I'm so proud of you right now. I was like, so fun. That was genius. I'm so proud of you right now. When I would do things to kind of embarrass them when they're growing up, but just because it's funny. And if it wasn't funny, I wouldn't do it. I mean, if it was seriously embarrassing, I wouldn't do it. But they were in volleyball. Man, I had a good time when they were in volleyball. And they were power servers. both of them, because we used to play this game. So part of our house was one story, and we would get those big bouncy balls from Walmart, and we'd play house ball, and you had to hit the ball all the way over into the backyard, all the way over into the front yard. And I taught them to be power servers, so they go into volleyball and they're like winning all the games. So I was so excited at the games. And Teggy says, I am Fallaw. So it reminded me of when I used to scream whenever they would score. I would scream, Fallaw, like that. That's freaking genius. Everybody started doing it. And they're like, stop it. Just stop doing that. And I'm like, I can't. And then my brother started doing it, and then our aunt started doing it. So you got this whole section over in the bleachers screaming, Fallaw, like that. I'm like, that is genius. And it was so funny, you know. That's another thing, is that one thing people don't like to do is one thing you can do in awakening is take a look back at all the funny. Take a look back at all the joy. Take a look back at the good times. Dwell there for a second. Not in the bad. There's no need to. Those times are gone. We've already addressed them. But the happy memories, the funny memories, you know, those are good. Those raise your vibration. You know, close your eyes and just walk through it again. You can. One of the classes, I'll teach you guys how to do that one time. Walk through your memories. See it as an observer. But yeah, you know, all these little bits and pieces that we put together, the things that we notice about this time, you know, be an observer during this time that we're going through in history here. Watch how people react. You know, take your cues from that. I've always done that. When I was a kid, I was outside a lot, like all the time. I had a pony, and then we had a horse, and we had like chickens and ducks and dogs and cats and, you know, turkeys and all kinds of stuff, mostly birds, you know. But I would just be always outside, and if something was coming, I would watch how the animals reacted. And then I knew, you know, they would stop, or they would look, or they would not go down. The horse wouldn't go down a certain road. Well, sure enough, there's a snake, or there's a Doberman, or there's something. So I learned to be an observer, you know. Now watch how people are reacting, and you'll kind of know where we're at. Because I have seen a difference. Yeah, I've talked about the negative part of it today. I've also seen a positive thing. There's a lot of people out there like me, just walking around like, yeah, I'm coming in here without a mask. You know, my husband and I have been going to the casino a lot because there's nothing else to do. Okay. And that man cannot even pull the mask down for a second. Somebody's on him. Just like, sir, put your mask back on. I'm walking around barefaced. Nobody says crap to me. I think it's totally funny. I'm like, what is that? You know, am I so unapproachable or what? But, you know, be an example. Also be an observer. I've noticed these people, there's more and more people walking around like that. Like, no, we're not going to take it anymore. No, we're taking our freedom back. No, I'm done with this. And I think that's wonderful. Hi to everybody in the chat. I am not a good, hey, let's read the chat comments person because I don't want any dead air time. Rosemary's here, Teggy's here, David, Robert, Michael, two Michaels, Michael Stark, Michael Campbell, Annette, Facebook user. Okay. Dave Barra. That's my buddy. Mike Barra is too. All right. Well, I don't really have a lot to say. I'm just rattling on. So I would like to tell you all about, totally forgot what I want to tell you about. I want to tell you all about The new class that is coming up on May 10th is number 4 in our interdimensional meditation series, Meet God. It's going to be so cool. I am working on this one hard. Of course, I've been going to him for many years to sit down face to face with God and talk to him. Yes, you can. And the only thing that has taught society and everybody for all these thousands of whatever years that you can talk to God, but he won't talk to you, that is crap. Total crap. Drop it. Who the hell thinks they are so important and so informed that they would tell God that he cannot speak to his child? Let me ask something. If somebody came here, somebody told me I couldn't talk to my babies, I would throw it out with my bare hands. I mean, I was like, are you kidding me? You're not keeping me, you're not going to separate me from my babies for anything. Do you think God loves his children any less? No. God resides within you. So who religion tells us, oh, that's evil, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, there's probably some people running around trying to confuse people. Oh, I'm God, you know. Why don't you jump off that cliff over there? You know, yeah. But to have that ongoing conversation with God in your mind is vital. It's vital to happiness. It's vital for guidance. You know, he is experiencing through you. No one has the right. The angels don't even know what I say to God. Do you know that when you talk to God, when you pray, it is absolutely private? This is one thing I learned over the years, meditation. Because I've had conversations with him, and then I go back to the angels. I'm like, well, this is what we're doing, you know, and they're like, what? They had no idea what was said, because when you pray, when you have that conversation, it's absolutely private. It's amazing. So when I go see God, he shows himself to me in a way that I think he would look like, or is comfortable to me. It may look completely different when you go see him. He can be whatever he wants. But it's a trip. We're going to go to the 7th level of heaven. We're going to project there. I'm not going to tell you anymore, but I'm going to have a lot of information for you for this one. So you can go to jenniferfallaw.com. We're going to do it live on May 10th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you want to take the other classes, they're available for you there. When we stop this series, I'm going to pull them all down. So if you want to do it, I do it now. I don't know how many more I'm going to do. So the first 3 classes are available as a recording. You'll receive them from Mike Barra. We'll send it to you as within 24 hours of the purchase. You know, he could be sleeping or something. And then, you know, come and join us on the live. It's going to be a fun time. And the cool thing about going to the live is that you can ask me questions at the end and share your experiences. All right, guys. I want to thank everybody for joining me here tonight. Remember, when you feel like you're surrounded by darkness, be a beacon of light. Always remember and never forget that. Okay. Until next time, remember to shine.